Friends from Faith Farms and Faith CDC are in studio. I got a gentleman we're going to meet in just a bit, but of course our good friend Miss Frida, who is living in a place that I love, and that is about food as medicine. And you know, we are what we eat. And I was telling the audience, you know, because I've been patting myself on the back. I got into my first serious foray. I remember telling you last year with our gardening and what we were doing at our house. And I made, you know, most of our stuff we got to the table. I had my corn. I was just this close. It was just coming in. And those deer that had been lurking in the background all that time, they came and got me right at the end. Oh my God, they came and got me. But I'm a little bit better prepared this year. I know more. And so I'm just eager to get chomping at the bit. And I was also talking about, you know, when I was over in Amsterdam last month, I went to the world's largest seed market. They have that over in Amsterdam. Yeah, but here's the deal. They had all this remarkable stuff. The only thing, though, if you're from North America, Canada, and I could only bring home.
I was getting ready to say you probably couldn't bring any of that.
I brought home some tulip bulbs. Now, I got some pretty cool tulips. I got them in a dark place ready to start them. But there was so much other stuff, food and all that. Right. They won't let us bring
different
it home.
environments grow differently.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us bring it home.
You don't want to contaminate.
That's what they were telling me. But anyway, once again, Happy New Year to you as well. You're looking all vibrant and things like that, which means you're eating well.
I'm eating well.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce our friend here as well.
Good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning. Thank you guys for having us.
Yes.
Don't you just love winter in Indiana? I was listening to your report. But this is the day that God has made.
Yes.
So we will rejoice. So good morning. I am Frida Graves.
Yeah.
I am working with Faith CDC for about almost 10 years now.
I was about to say forever.
I am the director of Food is Medicine.
Yes.
And Health Issues and Challenges.
Yeah.
And I am here this morning to give up a little update about how our programs are going and how everything is going, the events that are upcoming for Faith CDC and Health Issues and Challenges at Faith.
And we're absolutely interested to hear it. And I always like to just, you know, because you're a very humble person, but, you know, Miss Frida not only is very passionate about food as medicine and her dedication, and she's a vital part of Faith CDC and Faith Farms, but she's also she's very versed in the medical profession. Your background is in nursing. So you're not just this, you know, somebody, and God bless the people that have come out as hobbyists and things like that, but you have a medical background. So this is something that you're kind of more inclined to kind of, I don't know. I'm saying you're trained in it. You know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, that was very helpful as we were exploring the health disparities in our community.
Yeah.
The medical background was very helpful, you know, particularly the diversity. You know, our usually African Americans are more apt to have these disease processes going way back from where we started eating and how we eat now and things like that. So, that was very helpful when I was exploring and we were talking to our neighborhood people, what they do, would they participate in these programs and things like that.
Right.
So that was very helpful to know the diagnosis because we do by physician referral. So to be able to know when they send a diagnosis over what that means. The coronary artery disease, the diabetes, the gastrointestinal disorders, and all the other comorbidities. That are, we have a lot of renal failure associated with diabetes and things of that nature. So that was wonderful to be able to help. So as we were doing the footprint of this program, I was able to implement, and thank goodness, Pastor Curtis.
Absolutely.
Let's pray over it. I know you know the diagnosis, so let's pray over it. And we, 2 o'clock in the morning, putting that footprint together for this program. But I said, how can I best help our community? Not just here in Indiana, but Northwest Indiana. So those things were helpful.
No, absolutely.
And helpful. And how can I make it so it's not overwhelming for our participants?
No, you know what? One of the things, I think I've said this to you and to Curtis before, and it's just about your organization, because you just kind of touched on it, and that is that, for a long time we tend to hear words in our communities, food desert, but you kind of cited things in our communities, hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, and all these things that we kind of accept. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. This is kind of what happened. And you all have taken a very different approach to it. You're like, well, it's out here, but it doesn't have to be the norm. It is not the norm. It isn't the norm. We believe food is life and all that. And so education. And I like how you work with kids, because I'm somebody that believes in that. I remember being a kid myself, being active in different things. And kids come back into the house with all these things that they've learned. And next thing you know, mommy and daddy are trying that new healthy dish.
The next generation
yes.
is teaching the previous generation.
They're teaching it. Yes. And grandma and grandpa are now, in order to kind of indulge and play around, next thing you know, they're eating healthy and trying new things, and then it just becomes kind of like spread out and it matriculates up the family chain.
When you see a kid walking home with a handful of carrots that they grew themselves, that is very extraordinary.
How you tell your grandkids you're not going to eat those carrots?
Now we have kids, and this is the thing about the program. I have grandparents telling me, oh, my grandkids love Brussels sprouts now. They never would touch Brussels sprouts before, but I really want to get to how extraordinary the results are. They even surprised us. The results of people that were able to lose weight, blood pressure stabilization, the lab work within normal limits. The doctors are amazed. What are you doing?
Don't get me started. I got a couple of doctors that come on this show that are afraid, and I respect them because a lot of times modern medicine, and you understand this and appreciate it, unfortunately it is not necessarily geared. I mean, Big Pharma still has a big fingerprint on it. And so when you do kind of come out with what is, I don't even like to use the word to describe, it's common sense, but it's still considered holistic. When you have that approach where it's non-medicine, non-synthetic.
We're working alongside the physicians. We're not changing any medical regimen. We do not promote that. You work with your medical provider on that. But we will supply the low sodium, low carb items and teach you how to eat the soul food in a low sodium, low carb way.
Common sense and a lot of
and we're not going to touch anything else as far as your medical regimen. I mean, I've actually had people ask me questions about the blood thing, the blood diet. I said I will not promote any. You have to ask your physician.
Work in concert with your physician.
I'm working with them on the food part. I'm not changing anybody.
No.
I'm not telling you what to take as far as medication, herbs, things like that. I will not do that.
No, absolutely.
Everybody is different.
Everybody's different.
And I don't want to step on any, over the borderline of physicians.
No, of course not. But I
got to just tell you, Jeffrey, I got to make this point. Physicians have been wonderful working with us.
Oh, my God.
They have been wonderful. Dr. Onaya, Dr. Artis, Dr. Seabrook, Community Health Net.
These are my people. And so what I'm saying is that listen, I believe the average person who goes into medicine actually does want to go out here and help people. And I just think sometimes in modern medicine, the way it is it's become too medication reliant. And we can that's a whole nother show. We don't have to get into that. But I do always appreciate people and physicians who are open to understanding something. And I just kind of go back to a very basic when I was at Tuskegee vet school. And the one thing that was always being impacted on us was diet is everything. Diet is everything.
Exercise is a certain percentage, but diet is 89 or 90%.
It's because you're putting this in your body. It is the fuel. And so all the little additives, all the different, steroids, preservatives, some of them never make it out of the muscle layer.
That's why we use organic practices.
There you go.
Because we don't need that stuff going in your body because it wouldn't be helpful.
It doesn't, and some of it doesn't go anywhere. It embeds itself. I mean, so I appreciate people like you, and I think doctors and people, and once again, you're a medical professional, so you got
the nurse down there. We went to nursing school together.
Oh, really? My girl down there?
Yeah, we graduated together.
Oh, okay.
Miss Karen.
Miss Karen. Yeah, that's my girl.
We graduated together.
Yeah.
So those things, and it was helpful to pound the pavement and let the doctors know what we're trying to do. It's no cost to the participants.
No.
And it's 6 months they're on that. So you're not only helping them with their diet, being able to change their diet, being able to change their health outcomes, you're helping them with their food insecurity. You're helping them to be able to save money and put that money back. We have a question on our post survey where you're able to reallocate funds to bills, our groceries, or anything like that. And the people are so happy with it. And now we have a waiting list above our waiting list because we're on our next cohort now of the boxes. And we're having people that were in the program and can we get back in? And I would love to, but we have to do unique individuals. We're trying to hit everybody. So if something else opens up where we can put the people back in the program, they loved it.
I mean, you get me ginned up every time you come in here, Ms. Freya. I mean, I'm in charge because, and as I said, I want to move on and meet our guy, but this is also something I'd love to have because I think that, for new people and young doctors and nurse practitioners who are looking about these communities, this is what it looks like to me because, as I said, I always tell the story of, I was in school at Tuskegee, but I was coming back to see my father who had started to get ill. And I'll never forget coming back, and I just kind of, I was in first semester pharmacology, so I knew what the suffixes and I knew my medications, but I'll never forget looking at my dad, who, was a very strong, very active man, and coming home from school, and my mom, helping him get his medication, and opening the cabinet, and there were 14 medications, 14. And I saw my dad, who was a shell of himself, take those pills, and for the rest of the afternoon, just kind of sit lethargic, looking out the window, coming, just because that was supposed to help him get better versus, the approach of being natural and kind of starting with your diet. And so I think that, people like yourself and the organizations and also doctors that embrace this approach, this is what it looks like in the community. It's not about coming in there, building more dialysis centers and all those things that we see and, becoming more prevalent in our community. It's about going out here talking about healthy diets, less sugar, identifying these things early on.
Right. Even the things, people that are learning. You can eat fruit, but that's still sugar.
There's still sugar.
So it's a simple sugar, but it breaks down into sugars. When you can't eat 5 apples
moderation.
People, the nurse practitioner, the classes that she gives them about how to do it, the chef, how he talks about on the live cooking demonstrations. And Amber has seen this, how he tells them how to work the seasons they've used, and things like that. In the live cooking demonstration, it does my heart good to see our people are. And then the biggest thing in this, I'm going to turn it over to Minister Cobb. The biggest thing that we're learning is people come in, they feel better. And we have these little things called trait plate analysis, and they put the bottom. When we've had people come in and say they don't feel good after 4 months on this program, they're feeling better. They're learning about gentle movement. They're learning about all these things.
Your joints and all that stuff. It's all relative.
That's why we work with all the physicians. We like, I call ourselves a vegetable Walgreens.
I like it.
We're a vegetable Walgreens.
And I think it speaks to our medical community, Dr. Artis and Dr. Seabrook and the doctors around here, because they're not intimidated. They embrace that. There are some, like I said, I know some physicians that kind of always, acknowledge about this approach to medicine, but they're on the other side. They just are. And I know you know that. We don't have to go out here and disparage people. But, I know guys that are medication first, and I appreciate people.
The physicians have embraced that.
They love you.
We're so grateful.
They love you.
So grateful that they actually listened and felt it in their heart.
Yeah, you got a vegetable pharmacy going on.
Yes, we do.
All right, let's go and meet our gentleman over here. This is my first time meeting. We introduced ourselves prior to the show, but go ahead, please introduce yourself again to our wonderful audience.
Well, thanks for having us, Jeffrey. My name is Kevin Cobb. I do work at CDC. I am the project director for our renewable energy project team, and so thank you again for having us here today. I get excited listening to Frida talk about
she'll get you jammed up. Oh my God,
because it's so important.
Yes.
And what I love about Face CDC is we're not one dimensional.
No,
we are
far from
out here really focusing on what the community needs holistically, and so I'm so happy to be a part of this wonderful organization. I've been a minister at that Progressive Community Church for 7.5 years now, but I've only been involved with Face.
Are you sure I didn't see? I think I saw you this summer, didn't I?
You probably did. I'm down at the farm sometimes, or I'm at the office working there.
Right.
It's all about getting out.
I was speaking to some kids there, and there was another minister there, and I thought it was you. I don't know.
It could have been.
It could have been you.
You know what? We don't sit around and Face CDC. It's
always keep it moving.
We're out here because that's where the work is.
Right.
You can get comfortable in the church, in the office, but the work is out here in the community.
Curtis going to have you all out there.
So,
absolutely. I know. Listen, that's my dude. So, you also bring something up that I am very, very interested and passionate about. I call myself a conservationist. But we do live in a time, God bless, with everything that's going on with our weather. We see, what's happening, the horrible things in LA. The South is right now getting barreled with a winter storm. It's a lot of stuff going on. And one of the things that's happening is a lot of our energy resources are in the West are being tapped. And so the idea of renewable energy, and going back to our mutual friend Curtis, in addition to, when many years ago when he and I worked in the same building, we used to have lunch and we talked about, he was picking my brain about, because he was going to start this farm idea and all that. And of course, I always like to just say for the record, Curtis was one of those guys. And we'd sit on the little step outside Food Express and talk. Next thing I know, the dude's coming to me like, I'm on my way to Minnesota. I'm just talking to such a, I'm like, what? What are you, yeah, we're going to go over here. And I'm like, we're building a greenhouse. I'm like, we just got through talking about this. It's still in the idea. But he's a doer. And I respect guys like that. And another thing I remember him doing was getting into this thing where he started talking about net metering. And he was over here getting the solar panels and all that kind of stuff. And so I can absolutely appreciate him getting into renewable energy. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like with Faith CDC, because you know how it goes.
Absolutely. The visionary Pastor Curtis.
The visionary pastor.
Always on the move. So yes, I'm part of the environmental justice team.
Nice.
And so what environmental justice is just our effort that we pray and ask God to lead us. One of the things that I'm very passionate about is reducing our thirst, our hunger for fossil fuels.
Right.
Electricity, coal, things like that.
Right.
When we have one fun fact is about 1 hour of sunshine per day will power the average home.
Right.
That's all.
Yes.
That's all you need.
Right.
And so there are so many other things out there that we can use, natural resources that won't hurt the planet, that won't hurt our health, because it all ties together. Food is medicine. The environment, it all comes together because environmentally, especially in this area, there are so many things out there. And what's so dangerous is you can't see a lot of it.
Right.
We're walking around and there are so many carcinogens things in the air that's hurting us as we breathe. Breath is life, but we're taking breaths that's literally taking time off of our lives.
No, you bring up a good point. I was born in Gary, and I thank God that I kind of quote grew up out of it. But when I was younger, it was a very kind of debilitating ailment. And I wasn't the only one at Nobel in my elementary school. A lot of us were running around here with asthma and asthma-related things. And I can even remember at a certain point in time, and I'm dating myself, but this was in the 70s, the sky at certain times of the day would be somewhat orange. And so when you do look at the fact that there were young babies being born, their first breaths were just a couple of miles away from a blast furnace, you can kind of understand the correlation and understand what you're saying about just these environmental kind of, poisons that are just around us, and we can't even see them, but we need them in order to live. I mean, we need the air.
We do need the air. So we can all live together, but we were really blessed. Earlier this year, we received a grant.
Nice.
From NREL. That's a federal agency that's a part of the EPA.
Right.
And so they're providing technical assistance because one of the things we want to do is to bring some solar farms to Gary, Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
Less reliance on even the electrical lines. And so I'm really excited. This weekend, we're hosting an event with NREL. We've partnered with the city of Gary as well as the Gary Public Library. And we've got some other great partners with us, GUARD, Coaction.
Yeah, GUARD seems like they'd be all in on that.
GUARD is everywhere.
I've had GUARD on this show. I know members of GUARD. Go ahead.
And so one of the things that we're going to focus on is educating the youth, because I'm 53. And God willing, I've got some more years to work, but this fight is going to take longer than I have left. God willing.
Hey, wait a minute. We're somewhere around the same age. Just start putting the clock on us.
and I want to retire one day and go somewhere warm and relax. And this fight, it's going to take a while to fight, I believe, just because we've got a hill to climb. It's not insurmountable. Right. With God, all things are possible, and I found that God will open doors that you would never expect. But we're hosting an event at the public library, at the main library,
Fifth
Avenue. This weekend. It's called Family Fun Solar Day, and so NREL and their partner Slipstream and some of our partners, we're going to have some hands-on interactive tools that kids can learn how solar works, and they can touch it with their hands and they can see it. We're going to educate some families. We're going to have co-action there. They're going to help some families that might need help with their energy bills. NIPSCO is going to be there also with some programs that they may have to help folks who are struggling to pay their utility bills. All that's going on this weekend. 10:30 to 3. We're going to be serving some refreshments. So we'll feed you. We'll try to educate you. Bring your kids. We really, because one of the things that I want to do is to help young people to become, one, aware of the environment and the air that they breathe, and get them excited, because I believe that truly the children of the world are our future. And if we get them young and educate them and help them to understand that life is more than what you even see before you, and educate them, our young folks are, I believe today, are some of the most resilient and smart people out there, especially our Gary youth. And so we want to get them and bring them into, just like with our new ag program that you mentioned, where they're learning how to farm. They're learning they're learning the science of farming. And they're becoming excited about vegetables.
Animal husbandry you all are doing over there.
Some of those kids.
I didn't know any of that stuff until I went to, I mean, you know, I knew some of it because of my interest in some of the, but you're right. I mean, you got to get these people, these young kids involved early. I always tell this story, you know, Tuskegee University I went to and you know, it's a traditionally historically black college, but going into that first year, there was only like 5 black kids in there. 5 blacks. I mean, out of the whole entire first year class, because we just didn't have access from where we were coming from to, you know, some of us who, you know, that were there had been in 4-H. Some people like myself worked for veterinary. When I was in high school, I worked in pet play. I was in the Scouts, and I think we had one girl whose parents were, her dad was a veterinarian. But for the most part, we didn't know anything about horses and goats and things like that. And so our first year, when you had to go out here and be tasked with feeding the goat and feeding the pig, my first foray into a pigsty, I fell, I got bit, I learned that they had teeth. It was a whole thing. But what I'm saying though is, you do appreciate everything that you all are talking about, because it does start as a young person. That's when you get those seeds planted. And it can, you know, it can grow and it can change your life and give you direction of where you're going. So I absolutely appreciate the fact that you're starting young.
And it's still a shortage of African Americans in the USDA. We had a meeting with someone from the USDA.
Nobody understands.
There's still a shortage, and these young people can get into new ag in the junior and senior
year programs
and maintain at least a C average. They can get a full ride scholarship to a HBCU. That deals with agriculture. So there's still very much a shortage of African American people in the USDA and in environmental.
Well, I want to ask you, because this is I've had the pleasure of talking with Curtis over the years when he was on the show, and you know, I always like to kind of give him and your organization credit. I like to give him, because he's very politically savvy, right? I mean, and what I mean by that is he is very good at, you know, having these ideas and negotiating in areas that might seem to be resistant to it. So, you know, I mean, case in point, you all got an event coming up where you're talking about solar panels, and NIPSCO is going to be there. Only guys like, you know, very few people could pull that off. Trust me when I say that. So, you know, as we kind of talk about this, how do you go out here and navigate this? I was talking with Ms. Frida about, you know, her ideas and some of the things she's pushing, and you've got Big Pharma right down the road on I-65 with Eli Lilly and so many others that, you know, I mean, you know, you can even see Big Pharma pushing back when it comes to the cannabis industry and medical marijuana. They don't necessarily want it to go too far. And so when you get into some of the narratives like Ms. Frida's talking about and others like her, you know, they can get a little, but somehow you all do a great job, and I think her credibility as a medical professional goes a long way as well. So let's talk about conservation, environmental justice. Like, what does that look like? How do you go out here and try to talk to people? Because I think this is an economic issue as well. You know, when we talk about the rising cost of energy bills, gas and power and electricity, solar power for the most part is free. Now, capturing it is still new technology. That can still be relatively expensive, but I think it's going to go down in the future. But how do we go out here and kind of make that mainstream?
So
that's
first
a lot.
And foremost, pray.
Yeah.
Ask God to lead me, because again, if we look at it, the odds are against us.
Yes.
Because there's money that's against.
There's money that's against it.
But there's more than money in this world.
Yeah.
And so
I like that.
When we have a plan and a great boss like Curtis Whitaker, who's a visionary.
Yeah.
Vision and provision from God.
Who's already thinking years ahead, that equips us with what we need and the contacts that we need. It's surprising. NIPSCO called us and said, how can we work together?
Only Curtis.
They literally called and said, we heard what you're doing over there.
Right.
How can we work together? What do you need from us?
Yeah.
And things like that begin to happen.
No, and I don't think you can. I don't think you can kind of emphasize that enough about how profound that was. I'm not going to name his name. I got a neighbor out in Millard. I met this gentleman maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, and this guy lives in my community, and he's gone totally off the grid. A brother, he rides a motorized bicycle, he has a windmill, and he has 4 solar panels, and you would have thought, and you know I'm talking, and you would have thought that he was a fugitive from justice the way NIPSCO looks for him and tries to shut him down, because it's just like, how dare you get off the grid? How dare you? And so to have your organization kind of approach it not only in a very academic way, but just in a very community-oriented, positive way. I just think companies and you cannot deny what you all are doing, and it would be better to be supportive of you than to be on the other side.
Yes, and
that's me talking, by the way.
We were blessed. We were a part of a coalition. There were 2 grants that the Biden administration put out. In 2023, it was $14 billion total. We were blessed to be a part of an Indiana coalition to get a part of that.
Nice.
And so, again, we partnered with the city of Gary and some other partnerships, and it's opened a lot of doors.
I can imagine.
It's brought partnerships together because we can't do this alone. Yeah. So we have a lot of other organizations locally and throughout the region that we've been blessed to work with, and they all have their own lanes and their own specialties that they can do. And so we found when we put our resources together and we realized that we are all trying to get to the same place, we then break out the map. Okay, I'll go this way, you'll go that way, and we'll meet up here, and then we'll go further. And so we've been a part of an organization with this Solar for All was the grant that we got, and we're still prayerful. The other one, Community Change Grant, they had so many applicants. They were supposed to make a decision in, I think, January.
You're gonna get it.
And we got an email. Listen, I think they said they had a request. It's $7 billion or $8 billion. They had a request for $29 billion. And something like 900 applications.
Wow.
So they're saying, just give us a few more months.
And we'll just give us a minute. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to sift through.
But the Solar for All is really great. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen with that. Yeah. And God is going to do some great things. And as we've been having meetings now since last summer, and the beauty is we're all on the same page. We got folks from Gary, Fort Wayne, all over the Northwest Indiana region, and everybody, it's just flowing.
Now let me ask you this, because once again, I do remember when Curtis was getting into this and talking about net meter and things like that. I want to ask you, as you said, going forward, once again, if we talk about, let's say, the city of Gary and things like that, in which we have a substantial seasoned population among others, and as I said, I look at this as an economic thing as well, in which you're dealing with men and women who have worked hard and are on fixed incomes now in the homes that they own, and who would absolutely benefit by having their energy costs offset. in this part of their lives. I mean, is this kind of something going forward where you all can start having some, I'm talking about once the things get kind of moving and set up, where you can start having families start to come in as a community, because it would take such a burden off so many of our citizens if they could kind of plug into something like this to kind of offset their utility bills. Because utility, let's just be honest, it's not just here, it's all over. Utility costs are absolutely getting expensive, and it's getting hotter in the summer, and it's getting colder in the winter, and you've got to use that AC and heat.
So the beauty is we don't have to wait. One of the things we're going to be doing this weekend,
there you go,
we're going to be talking about weatherization programs, and different weatherization, how you can weatherize your home or apartment today. You don't have to wait. So coaction, slipstream, we welcome you, brother. There's going to be a lot of education going on this weekend at that public library. I believe it will save you money.
And I'm totally interested.
Yeah, because it's the partnerships that we've been able to grow thanks to Pastor Curtis. Yeah. Thanks to just God blessing us and being in the right place at the right time. We have so many wonderful partnerships and partners that we work with through Faith CDC. And so I'm really excited about this weekend, because I believe that some folks, are going to get some help with their utility bills. Yeah. Some folks are going to get some help weatherizing their homes and just improving their own living conditions, because it's cold.
It's cold.
It's
man.
cold.
It's cold.
The bills are coming.
They're coming. They're here.
They're here. And so we want to help equip folks today. Look, there's some great things on the horizon, but we believe that there are always things that we can do now, today. You don't have to wait. No. We can improve our lives beginning at this moment.
At this moment. Listen, I absolutely love it. As I said, we just got an opportunity to meet you today. Give us a little bit of background, my brother. I mean, you said you've been kind of working with Curtis in this wonderful organization for what, about 10 years or so?
No, just a year and a half.
I've been at the church. No wonder I haven't seen you. Just a year and a half. So tell us, give me your background. I always like the new people that I meet. I like to meet them on the air. So tell me about you. Where were you born?
I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
We moved here.
What part of Chicago?
South Side.
All right.
79th Street.
All right, there you go. Throw those streets out. You know how y'all do it. So you're from South Side, and you went to graduate high school there. Then where did you go after high school? So
I went to EMT school.
Nice. To be an EMT.
Colleges of Chicago, yeah. I never worked in that field, but that's what
you could if you wanted to.
So, and then I got a job actually with the government.
Oh, what with the government?
I worked at U.S. Customs for 9 years.
Oh, wow. You saw some stuff.
I did.
Yeah.
I saw some things.
Yeah, I know you did.
And then I got bored.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, my parents were government employees, and so when I graduated high school and I didn't go to college right away, I came home one day and there were 2 applications on the table. My mother said, here's an application for the post office where your father works, and here's a general government application. Fill out, pick one.
Pick one. You got to get you a job.
Pick one. And have it on the table here.
Yeah.
She made arrangements for me to take the civil service exam.
Yeah.
All those things, and so eventually I got hired. I did that, as I said, for 9 years. I quit in 2000.
Wow.
And then I went into corporate America, my last job. Show you how God works. I worked for a company that has a lot of different businesses.
Yeah.
And I was a quality assurance specialist.
You were the bad guy. You were the bad guy. In corporate America, we know the quality assurance guy is the axe man.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we had, almost all of the call centers were out of the country.
Right.
I was listening to terrible calls every day, and so this is how it works. I would go to the church to work sometimes just for the peace of mind. And I hated my job.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it because I had a family.
Right.
And then one day, my boss, all of my superiors have been laid off by then.
Yeah.
I didn't even have anybody to lay me off. So a VP from a different,
somebody walked in from a totally
called me, and she said, Kev, I'm sorry, but budget, blah blah blah. We have to let you go. I said, thank God. So I told Pastor Curtis, I said, I got laid off from my job today. So Pastor Curtis, being Pastor Curtis, said, okay, well, just come back tomorrow. We'll find a job for you.
Wow.
And so I started working on the farm because they needed a farm manager because Frida was moving on to something else.
Yeah.
And then I learned I'm not a farmer.
Right. You are one now. You are.
I'm not a farmer. And so he said, well, I've got this grant that's coming up in the environmental justice group. I think it would be good for you.
Nice.
And so
I like Curtis.
I love Pastor Curtis.
Yeah.
He is a one of a kind. And so I just volunteered for the summer until the grant came through. God blessed me. I never had more money than when I was unemployed for that summer.
Right.
Everything worked out perfectly. And then here we are. So thanks to Builders Initiative, that's the nonprofit that funded the position that I'm in now.
Well, congratulations, brother. As I said, you got the wonderful smile and the right temperament, and just meeting you got very good energy, and so there's a reason Curtis felt that you were right man for the job, because you are. And so as you have it, I want to kind of circle back to the logistics of the event coming up, but you talked about young people getting involved. I know with Miss Frida and with the farm stuff, they have the cohorts where both in the fall, after school, I believe, and then in the summer, which is a full-time program. How does the environmental justice work for parents or guardians who have kids who do want them to get involved in this?
So, they can come out this weekend. It's a family event. They can come out this weekend. We are looking at more programs moving further down that would involve the youth a little bit more. Yeah. We partnered in some areas, so now a part of the curriculum for the New Ag program, it involves environmental justice. Okay. And so I was able last year to write some of that curriculum.
Now, real quick, kind of, because I know what environmental justice is. And when I hear environmental justice, in particularly in this area, this neck of the woods of the country, when we've got this behemoth that is looming over us a couple of miles away in U.S. Steel. What is environmental justice, or at least what does it mean as it relates to what you have interpreted as and how you all are practicing it?
I believe that it means, being aware of your surroundings, being active, and then if you see something, say something. Right. You can be a part of the problem or a part of the solution. Okay. And I feel as though those of us, and I was just as guilty, that just become apathetic. Well, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
There's nothing we can do about it. There is.
Yeah.
There are definitely things that we can absolutely do about it. And so we need to be involved. We need to know who.
Is there an accountability involved in that for the partners and the actors that are in a community? And I'm not just picking on U.S. Steel and things like that, but all of us who go out here and Burnley, just do things to contribute to an environment where we take advantage. Let me give you a quick example. As I said, the obvious, obviously, is the air pollution and things like that. But one of the things that I look at is environmental justice, specifically for an area like that, is a city like Gary in which people come and dump. Yes. And pollute and take advantage of a community that might not necessarily be able to police itself as much as other places, and that contributes to kind of, a bad living environment and, insect infestations and all kinds of stuff that will lead to things affecting the environment.
You literally read my mind, because we partnered with the city. Yeah. They're looking for funding to do some anti-dumping work. Right. And we would handle the community engagement piece of that. Nice. Because it is a huge problem. And yes, dumping has an impact on the environment. Things break down and it gets into the air, chemicals. Yeah. There's a myriad of things that people dump throughout the city that will have a long-term effect on the city. Not to mention, we see tires all over the place. That's a huge fire risk. It is. You see the fires burning out west now. You get enough tires going, and if it's dry and arid, and then with all of the brush we have here in Gary,
you got yourself a problem.
We have a problem. Yeah. And so, yes, dumping is a huge thing. Environmental justice, I would say, encompasses so many different things. Yeah. So many different areas, because there are a lot of different facets to environmental justice. I believe one of the things that, and we can learn a lot from our friends at GARD, but I believe that one of the things that we all need to know who IDEM is, Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Yes. We all need to know who they are, how to contact them, and they have so much information on their website when different companies come out and try and apply for permits and things like this. A permit is just another way of saying we're going to do some things that's not good for the local environment and the local community, and we want the government to sanction it.
Yeah.
And so that's when we can come up and say, hey, wait a minute, you want to do what? No, not in our community.
Right.
So we get together and we try and make a difference so that we can take our community back. Just because we're poor and appear to be disenfranchised doesn't give you a license to take advantage of us. And we get all of the things that the other communities don't want. We can't allow that.
We got a phone call real quick. We'll try to squeeze it in. Caller, how you doing? Good morning. You're on with Fake Farms.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
I want to speak on the worst environmental injustice I see for the United States.
Yeah.
Is these chemtrails flying across, dropping stuff down on us. What is your thoughts on that? Is anybody can do anything about that?
Right. Yeah, thank you. The contrails, there are people out there that think the planes are spraying stuff on us.
Yeah. One, there is always something that can be done.
Right.
It's just a matter of if you will have the courage to stand up. And we have access to so much information.
Yeah.
Research it. If it's something that you're passionate about, research it. And find out who regulates that.
Right.
Be it at a state or local or federal level. And then I believe in safety in numbers.
Yeah.
Organize. If it's something that you feel very strong about, organize. Get information out there. Do your research.
Do your homework.
And then get loud. The squeakiest wheel gets the oil.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You brought some. Getting back to when we were talking about dumping and things like that. You were talking about IDEM. I absolutely agree with you, and I think that conversations and things like what you're talking about is. I think one of the things that we do is we don't actually make our government work for us, and so in its basic sense. IDEM and any other organization, governmental organization, and you know this, you work for the government, your parents were government employees, but the government is serving at the behest of the people. So my point is that a permit is exactly that. There are certain standards that a entity has to live up to. Community agreed to standards in order to get the blessing to go into that community and do anything. I think a lot of times we look at it the other way. We look at the business as coming and doing us favors, and the permit is somewhat of an aftermath. And so, when we were just talking about dumping and things like that, I think that it's important. I think permits are important because, for instance, we have a lot of renovation and development going on in Gary. Now, I grew up here, and you were in Chicago, so we're all part of the same region. There are a lot of old buildings and old houses there, and we have people that are ripping the insides out, throwing them in vacant lots, and there's asbestos there.
Yes.
There's all kinds of toxic stuff that even as recent as the mid-'90s were declared to be carcinogens and things like that. That's what permits do. Permits provide accountability. It's the people that don't go and apply for permits that we need to go after.
Exactly. and I think when you talk about the companies, a lot of times companies come in and they tout, well, we're bringing 20 jobs.
Yeah.
Just like all money isn't good money, all jobs aren't good jobs.
Right.
And so I think we can't allow ourselves to get distracted by the bells and the whistles. Oh, there's 30 jobs coming here.
Well, fine if you meet the standards. You get what I mean? Yes. Because I think both things can live in the same space. I want jobs to the community. I want our community. I want our neighbors and friends in this town to work. But to your point, don't kind of come out there just using this as a selling point and getting me looking at the jobs and I don't see what your other hands are doing. The permits are the standards that we agree to. Yes. And so you can't get a permit unless you are going to operate under these community agreed upon standards, and then we're all on the same page after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of my logic, but I'm right in concert with you.
Yeah.
Once again, let's circle back to the event coming up at the library, because I think this is important. I think it's information. I want to make sure people have the information. Go ahead and give that information again.
Yes. So again, it's at the main library this Saturday from 10:30 until 3.
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow. I'm excited about it. There's going to be, again, so many partners that are going to be there. We've got some hands-on experiments for the kids to do. We've got some great information. Again, CoAction, NIPSCO will be there to help sign you up if you need help paying your utility bills.
God bless Curtis.
It's so important.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be okay. And so I don't want people to feel embarrassed because they need help.
Oh, come on, no.
Don't allow that in your life.
No.
If you need help,
there's no shame in that. The electric bill, utility bills are high all over the country.
It is.
All over the world. We were just in Germany, and the people were over there complaining about their bills. So it's a reality.
Yeah. And, come get some weatherization tips.
Yes.
That we're going to have for you, some great information that we're going to have for folks. Bring the whole family again. It's Family Solar Fun Day. We're going to have some refreshments.
We're going to have some
refreshments. We'll feed you. We'll feed you physical nourishment, and we'll also get you some educational nourishment as well. If anybody has questions, they can call our office at 219-880-0850. Again, that's for me, Kevin. I'll be in and out of the office today, but you can leave a message. I promise to give you a call back today.
Yeah.
And the website.
Yeah. Give the website, and then I will get this phone call.
Okay, great. Yeah. You can get us at faithcdcgary.org. faithcdcgary.org is our website.
All right. Caller, you're on. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeffrey. And to the young man, I'll give them that one.
Go ahead. You were breaking up. What did you say?
Yeah, let me turn the radio.
Okay.
Thank you for all the information. To the young man, thank you so much for all the information.
Thank you for calling me a young man. I haven't been called a young man in 30 years. Thank you.
You're a young man.
And you made his day. All right.
Reverend Whisper in church.
Yes.
But you guys doing a good job. Thank you so much. And I will be there Saturday, and I pass the word.
Oh, well, thank you very much. There you go. See, yes. I'm telling you, man, feed the people out here in the community. As I said, though, Kevin, it has been an absolute pleasure. Tell us a little bit before you get out of here about Faith CDC. When you preaching? When you getting up to the mic? I mean, do you participate in the services every week, or what happens? I want to give you a little shout out.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, you can visit our Facebook page. If you just Google Faith CDC, Progressive Community Church.
Right.
I do deliver a Sunday sermon. Sometimes I was just up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
But I'm a huge fan of Pastor Curtis's
messages
as well. We've got some great associate ministers there too.
Yeah.
Pastor Birch, Minister Dawson there.
How many of you are there now? About 5?
And then the pastor, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
We've
our
grown
services,
significantly. Good stuff over there.
We have.
You all really have.
And so the church is located at 656 Carolina Street.
Yes.
Our Sunday services are at 9 a.m., 9 to 10:30 a.m. Bible study afterwards at 10:30. You're welcome. We stream via Facebook Live. You can go back and see our old broadcast. The current Facebook page we're on now, we've been on that one for about a year and a half. There's another one you can link to that goes back several years.
Yeah.
And so we have a Word on Wednesday. That's a Bible study at noon at the church on every Wednesday. That's also broadcast on our Facebook page live as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what, my friend? It has been an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to just 2025 and everything that you all are doing over there. It has been an absolute pleasure to meet you. I think the event coming up Saturday is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And, come back and holler at us. Let us know what's going on.
I will. Thank
Former
you,
ex-government employee. I wanted to delve more into that. We'll get into that a little somewhere down the line. But I appreciate, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure meeting you. We thank you so much for allowing us on your platform. Thank you for the work that you're doing as well. I don't want anybody to forget about that. Information is key.
Yeah.
You've got a wonderful program. You guys are doing great things over here. Thank you for having us.
Oh, man. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to have to get off. My day's done. I'm dropping the mic. Thank you. With that, we're going to take a break. Once again, I want